at this afternoon's top stories. Prime Minister Harris outlines successes in the fight against HIV/AIDS. St. Lucia not bending to market gay marriages, and Afghanistan introduces its first solar-powered car. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ Mid newscast. Today is Thursday, 16th July 2015. I'm Carla Berridge. In national news, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris says efforts in the region to tackle the spread of HIV/AIDS are bearing fruit. He said the UN AIDS Lancet Commission's report on defeating HIV/AIDS stated that there is a distinct possibility that by 2030 HIV can become a non-issue as far as public health is concerned.
There has been significant reduction, nearing 50%, in the level of transmission from mother to child with respect to HIV. And there were other significant improvement downward in the statistics with respect to the global fight and HIV/AIDS.
He noted, however, that in the meantime, public awareness and other efforts must continue.
The report, of course, cautioned that we can't sit on our laurel, and there is ongoing need for more efforts and collaboration to ensure, in particular, that there is a sufficiency of cheap drugs available for those infected with HIV.
He said the report also noted that stigma and discrimination have to be eliminated if the region is to achieve the success which is visioned by 2020. Match 24 of the Hero Caribbean Premier League between the Guyana Amazon Warriors and the Jamaica Tallawahs was abandoned last evening due to unfavorable weather. The Jamaica Tallawahs are the happiest side with a point from the game as they now jump to third position, while Guyana Amazon Warriors still remain in the fifth spot. This puts the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots in fourth position. The 25th match will be played at Queen's Park Oval, Port of Spain, Trinidad, between the Trinidad Red Steels and the Barbados Tridents. The St. Kitts Nevis Patriots team is scheduled to play its next match at midday on Saturday at Queen's Park Oval against the Trinidad Red Steels. The police in Nevis are investigating a break-in in Jessops on Tuesday night. ZIZ spoke with Inspector Lyndon David, Public Relations Officer for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, who confirmed the incident.
What happened sometime around 9:45 p.m., a couple of the Jessops area returned home, having left that resident for their business, and when they got home, they realized that their home was ransacked. Having realized that, then they were approached by two armed masked assailants and robbed them of their jewelry. Based on our investigation thus far, there was no one who was injured in that matter.
Inspector David said that during the incident, the motor vehicle of the couple was stolen. However, by press time, the vehicle had already been located in the Ramsbury area and returned to the owners. The inspector is asking that anyone with information regarding this incident contact the nearest police station or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. The St. Kitts Nevis Institute of Architects, in celebrating its 10th anniversary, hosted a meeting on Wednesday to discuss architects' financial institution home ownership best practices. The main objective of the meeting was to gather institutional stakeholders to collaborate on the institutional framework for the built environment industry. Among topics for discussion were the reliability of development documents, systems to measure and increase efficient and effective project delivery, and what each institutional stakeholder needs to increase project deliverability. The SKNIA anniversary celebrations are being held under the theme Demonstrating Our Commitment to Our Profession. A look at news on the regional scene. The St. Lucia Tourist Board has dispelled any notion of a possible change in its marketing strategies in light of a United States Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage. More in this report.
Same-sex marriage is now legal across the United States, St. Lucia's biggest market for tourism. The monumental Supreme Court ruling in June sparked a tidal wave of dissent in the Caribbean, with religious groups urging CARICOM governments to not yield to a possible ripple effect for constitutional amendments. Buggery laws are still etched on the statute books here. And the island's main marketing agency, the St. Lucia Tourist Board, says it will be business as usual for spreading the word on the award-winning honeymoon destination.
The St. Lucia Tourist Board has maintained a continuous review of its marketing strategy. With some of the recent social developments taking place in the U.S., particularly with the legalization of the same-sex marriage, I don't think that is going to cause us to adjust our marketing strategy.
Tourism Minister Lon Theophilus told Newsforce gay rights groups are increasing the pressure on the government to reconsider what they deem as discriminatory legislation. But constitutional amendments may not happen anytime soon, and the SLTB's position remains rooted in the Constitution.
People of that orientation have always been welcome. The issue is that it's not legal in St. Lucia, and we are always guided by what the law is. We have to be very careful in terms of how you allow tourism to change your destination. You can actually lose your appeal if you adjust to every whim that takes place in the marketplace. It's something that we are very careful of in terms of what makes St. Lucia attractive as a tourism destination. Of course, there are niches that will complement the destination, and there are some that won't. But continuously reviewing the marketing strategy, we look at all things, but we are always guided by what is the law and what is legal.
St. Lucia was the only UN member in the Americas to formally oppose the UN Declaration on Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity. While the minister reserved comment on the implications on the U.S. Supreme Court's legalization of same-sex marriages, he does acknowledge the invaluable contribution same-sex visitors make to the country's economy. Rihani Isidore, HTS News Force.
The St. Lucia Water Resource Management Agency has warned the public to maintain water conservation practices. This comes as the agency announces that despite recent rainfall, the island is still in the throes of a severe drought.
Can you feel the heat? It is sweltering, and the brief intervals of light showers offer little respite. According to the Water Resource Management Agency, the drought persists. Acting Director of the agency, Terence Gillard, took to the shade of the nearby shrubbery to explain the bone-dry conditions. Sustainable Development Minister James Fletcher declared a water-related emergency on May 20th, 2015. The public is therefore advised to maintain conservation efforts.
Additionally, in the longer term, an intensifying El Nino, which normally causes a late start and early end of the wet season, particularly for the Southeast Caribbean, leading to potential drought concerns towards the next dry season. As a result, the nation is urged to continue its efforts in water conservation by taking shorter showers, turning off the tap while brushing teeth, promptly fixing leaks in plumbing infrastructure, and reporting leaks in Wasco's infrastructure, increasing rainwater harvesting.
Internationally, Afghanistan's first ever solar-powered car has hit the country's roads. The engineer who made it is hoping to have the car mass-produced for ordinary Afghans. Al Jazeera's Jennifer Glass reports from Kabul in Afghanistan.
Wahidullah Sabawoon had a dream to use something Kabul has plenty of, sunshine. So he started building his country's first solar car.
Two problems in Afghanistan. One problem is environment, and another problem is we haven't oil mined and gas. Yes. There is another system.
A professional engineer, Sabawoon knew what he wanted to build, but the materials and the money weren't always available.
Fiberglass, very expensive. I haven't money.
To finance the project, he sold his own car, and when that money ran out, he looked for donations. A friend he met online gave him $1,000 to finish it. It took a year and a half and $5,000 to produce his dream car.
And this is the only one in Afghanistan?
Yes, this is the only one in Afghanistan. And first solar and electric car. This is the car use electricity from this solar or back another solar. And when the weather is cloudy or night or rainy, we can use electricity and with charge.
Sabawoon used what parts he could find at the local market, like motorcycle wheels, and he welded the car together as best he could.
This is certainly a very basic model. There's no room for storage, no airbags, and not a lot of maneuverability. It's not the ideal car for cobbled traffic.
Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush suffers a neck fracture in a fall at his home in Maine. His spokesman said he is listed in stable condition. Julian Kitchener gives the report.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush.
Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush is listed in stable condition after suffering a neck fracture in a fall at his home. His spokesman says his hospital stay is expected to be brief, but according to a Twitter statement, Bush will be in a neck brace as he recovers.
Read my lips.
Bush was last hospitalized in Houston for a week in December 2014 after experiencing breathing difficulties. He currently suffers from Parkinson's disease and cannot use his legs. But his spokesman says Bush is as tough as they get, not to mention a thrill seeker. He turned heads last June when he celebrated his 90th birthday by skydiving near his home in Kennebunkport, Maine.
Taking a look at the weather. In the weather forecast, valid until 8 a.m. tomorrow, winds will be easterly at 12 to 17 miles per hour. Seas moderate with waves up to 6 feet. Therefore, small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution. Today will be partly cloudy and occasionally cloudy with scattered showers. Tonight will also be cloudy with a few isolated showers developing. An upper-level trough along with tropical wave will continue to generate cloudy spells with scattered showers across the Leeward Islands this morning into the afternoon. Sunrise tomorrow is forecast for 5:46 a.m., while sunset today will be around 6:49 p.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Berridge.